Hardcore Braves Country. It's Coach Ken Anderson for Hardcore Braves, and I got my main man Ryan on here. How you doing tonight, Ryan?
Well, it was a very odd weekend for the Braves, Ken, so I'm doing all right. Can't complain, but Braves really let me down this weekend. It's a really nice weekend that we could have made some ground on the Dodgers, and we just kind of shit the bed, buddy. So not as good as could be, but I'm not doing too bad. How are you doing? I know you just got home from your work trip.
Yeah, I've been in the mountains, and I apologize for some of the stuff not being out, but it's just we just can't do it with the Wi-Fi, so I had to pick my times. But I'm rested. I'm ready to go. I did get to watch some of the game today, the end of it. We'll get to that one, and I did watch the end of the Friday game, which is, be honest, was lethargic at best for the offense, and which was surprising because we had a day off Thursday. It's going to be kind of a different recap because there's really nothing to talk about except we'll go ahead and jump into the Diamondbacks really quick. We warned you, they are so gritty, and it will not surprise me if they get in the playoffs. And the Dodgers do not want them to get in the playoffs because I have a friend of mine, Gavin Height, who does Up West Sports, and he thinks they have a good chance to beat the Dodgers. That's what impressed me the most this weekend about the Diamondbacks, Ryan. They are a gritty bunch.
Yeah, they just go out there and play baseball, man. They don't do anything exceptional, right? They have decent starting pitching that can get them through some games. They have a decent back end of the bullpen. Well, more than decent. It's a pretty good back end of the bullpen. Their lineup's okay, but it doesn't jump off the page. Their defense is probably their calling card if I had to give them a calling card because the three outfielders can really go get it. You got Arenado at third. Perdomo's pretty slick at short. Marte's a gold glover at second. Gabby's a gold glover behind the plate. So defense is their calling card. Pitching's been decent. Their offense is decent. They just know how to play baseball, man. They run the bases really well. That's something that's very underrated about them. They run really well. They pick times to steal bags, and they're very successful at stealing bases. I mean, they remind me a little bit of the Marlins earlier in the year. You know how the Marlins played us like first time we saw them, they were really gritty, ran the bases really well, pitched really well, and we had to scratch and claw against them. They're a better version of that.
Yeah, I think it's a great comp, and I think the reason they're a better version is because of their experience. I think having experienced players have already kind of done this really helps them. And Corbin Carroll's a very experienced player, Ketel Marte, and no one more experienced than Nolan Arenado. And I thought this weekend it shows he is kind of the key to them actually being a threat to be in the playoffs because he had a big game Friday night with two home runs. He had just a good series overall, especially defensively. He looked like the old Nolan Arenado, making some really good plays. The one he made against Ozzie down the line was patented Nolan Arenado. I think that experience is why the Diamondbacks are a threat. And I don't think Braves fans should be like alarmed they lost this series. They should maybe just be concerned about some things that happened in it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not concerned. I think we look not taking anything away from the Diamondbacks. We lost the second game free and clear, right? Like that's no doubt. Game one really upset me. It looked like we went up there and didn't have an approach, and I know we're going to get more into that. So I'm not alarmed by it. I am. I hope it's a little bit of a wake up call to the guys, like, hey, you can't fall asleep at the plate, and you actually have to have a game plan night in and night out, not just go out there and wing it because it was very evident like they they might have done their homework, but let me tell you, it was a really crappy job and it was a procrastination job at best if they did it on Friday night. So I'm not worried about it, but I hope the Braves took it as constructive criticism that we can't really take games off and we got to go out there and play our rear ends off every single night because it kind of felt like they just kind of lulled it in on Friday night, Ken.
Yeah, so let's get in. Game one was disappointing from the fact they had a day off, and they almost looked like on Friday night they played as a team that had played 10 in a row. They had a little bit. Now, the one guy who didn't, now look on the series preview, me and Andrew did point out Diamondbacks don't have swing and miss. They are a team that fouls a lot of pitches off. They get a lot of, and we warned you that Chris Sale may have a tough time getting through the game. He threw 100, I think 108 pitches or something like that, 6 innings, but he did his job. He got through one earned run and really was a good start. The bullpen come in, did okay until Kenley gave up another hanging slider home run. I'm just I'm just so done with that. They get 2 runs. I thought pitching wise, Sale did his job. We knew he had to battle, and he got through it.
Yeah, I can't really complain too much. I'm not going to get on to Chris. He did his job. What, 6 innings, 1 earned run. I think he struck out 9 guys, and against a lineup that doesn't really punch out. So Sale did his job. He fought his way through a lineup that's really scrappy. And I mean, if you're going to tell me our starter's going to go out there and go 6 innings and not give up but 1 earned run, we should more times than not win the game. But bullpen did fine. Kinley, it's just his calling card at this point that he's just going to hang a slider every freaking time he comes in from the bullpen and it's going to get hit a country mile. I know he's had some really nice appearances like the one in Baltimore and like the one he had in New York, but overall, man, it's just been extremely inconsistent. And uh, he's going to be on the team. He's going to pitch. And you can see Walt's really trying to limit his high leverage situations right now just because he has been very inconsistent. But I don't know what else to say about Kenley other than it's just that. Sale was good. Bullpen was good except that one pitch. So
I always say, Braves fan, the comp would be Luke Jackson in 2021. We always want to take this team to 2021 where he phased. And remember how scared we were with Luke on a bunch of situations? We just got to hope that Kenley finds what Luke did and his pitches well. But even remember that in the 2021 against the Dodgers, it was Luke that got in the humongous problem with the bases loaded that Tyler Maxick went down in our team's lore when he struck out the side to get out of that. So I think that's where we are with Kenley. We're going to have to live with it. And I'm going to be scared to death when he comes in the game in the postseason, Ryan. How about you?
I will be shaking in my britches. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so let's get to the offense. Like I said, it was really a do nothing game. There's not a lot to talk about. We had 3 hits. What we will do is tip the cap to Brandon Faw. He has been one of the best pitchers since July. You joined us on the Braves hip coil. Ryan told you, be warning, if we don't have good approach against Brandon Faw, he will shut us down. And we did not have a good approach against Mr. Faw.
That was a dog shit approach. I don't even think they had an approach. I think they just went in there and said, "All right, boys, we're gonna show and go today." Because it looked like a Sunday men leagues game out there. And then just going out there and showing and going. If they had an approach, man, it would have been getting the fastball up out over the plate. I mean, he's throwing 92, 93. You can hit that. The problem was they were expanding low on him. They were chasing the slider. They were chasing the changeup. I mean, especially the slider. I can't tell you how many times I saw people swinging over the top of the breaking ball or swinging and making weak contact out on front of it or, chasing a fastball out of the strike zone, popping it up. It was just one after another. And it was just terrible approaches, every single one of them. There's not one hitter in the lineup that did their homework against this guy. I know he's been good, but you got to go up there and have a plan. Like I got to get him in this part of the zone to have a chance, and you can't expand your zone. And when you do that, you're playing right into his hand. And they just did a very poor job of execution. Even if they had a plan, it was piss poor.
Yeah, the comp to that is like if you follow the baseball team all season, you get to this Wednesday afternoon getaway game where they've played 10 games in a row. Both teams will swing at the first pitch a ton. Like it's sometimes the fastest game when you go watch the game in the stands. You'll be in the stands, you're like, what's it's in the 7th inning already? That's how they played today. Friday night. He had 86 pitches. They could have actually let him just throw a complete game. Chris Sale threw 108 and 6, and Brandon Faw probably could have threw 108. We're down 1-0, and I'm telling you what, that 7th inning approach, well, we went second pitch out. Ozzie at least took 2 pitches, and then on the third pitch, if you're frustrated at how we swung the bat Friday night Braves country, you have every right to be. It's a 1-0 game. We have got to work counts. This pitcher had 60 something pitches in the 6th inning. It's just, we try to be as positive, but that right there, like you said, was a piss poor performance. And I don't understand just not reading the room right there and realize we got to get this guy off the mound, Ryan.
I don't either, buddy. And it's not like the Diamondbacks didn't try to give us the game, right? You know how many base runners they left on base? There was a couple situations where they had second and third, nobody out, and they couldn't push a run home, or they had the bases loaded and one out and couldn't push a run home. Like, I don't know the exact number again, but I guarantee you it's at least 8 to 12 base runners were left on base, and they were not very good with the runners scoring position. I think they might have been 1 for 10 or 1 for 12 in that game. They literally put it on a silver platter and tried to hand it for the Braves, and they just, we don't want it. That was their offensive approach. We don't want it. We're going to go up there and just make easy outs. And they did a phenomenal job if that was their game plan, because they made it really easy for Brandon Pfaadt and the rest of the Diamondbacks pitching staff. It was like watching JV versus varsity. It really was. It was just, and then you had your one ace out there who was just shoving and giving everything he's got, and your offense is just spitting in his face. It's very piss poor. There's nothing positive to say about it except I hope they learned a lesson.
That's me. Then we get to the second game, and we actually come out and actually have a decent. And look, they got their best pitcher on the mound, Eduardo Rodriguez, and you think, okay, here we go. Ronald hits a home run. We get another run. And it's up 2-0, and then Grant has pitched so well, and then the old Grant showed up. And it's just, you don't know how to explain it. I mean, he was throwing pitches up there like it was batting practice in the second inning. We were lucky they didn't score more runs. I mean, even their outs that inning were 98, 106, and 102 miles an hour off the bat. We were lucky to get out of that inning. Grant looked shell shocked. And I think, and I'm going to say this, and this is, Grant, I'm sorry. It looks like that when you start giving up hits and things start getting a little squirrely, your biggest concern is, and I almost cussed there, is you freaking worried about being the starting pitcher in the Atlanta Braves instead of just freaking pitching. I mean, I don't understand why. I can see in the eyes that you start thinking way too much on the mound. And I'm telling you what, I know Hefner sees it. Like, instead of pitching, you don't get out of the situation because you start thinking, am I losing my spot in the starting rotation? That's my vent tonight. It's driving me crazy. Every time something goes squirrely in the third or fourth, second inning, you can see the look in his eyes. Ryan, are you seeing the same thing?
I don't know if that's what he's thinking, but you can definitely see he's got the oh shit, right? Like it's all over his face, and he just doesn't make pitches. When I tell you his stuff had absolutely nothing. His stuff had absolutely nothing going up there for him in that second inning or third inning whenever they decided to just score a boatload of runs off of him. I mean, his fastball was flat. His slider had no movement. And when it did have movement, it was way out of the zone. Wasn't even close to the zone. And like you said, he's not. It just doesn't look like he's fully focused out there on executing a pitch to get out of a situation. It's more he's letting outside factors factor into what he's doing out there. And when you do that, that's what you get. And more times than not this year, Grant hasn't been able to kind of push those thoughts out of his head and just focus on the task at hand out there. And look, this is the reason why, Ken, we all wanted an extra starting pitcher. This is why, because situations like this, or like the last time with Bryce on the Mets series, is going to happen with these guys from time to time. They're not going to go out there and, throw 7 innings of shutout ball 90% of the time. It's going to be like 20% of the time. And the other 40% is going to be like 5 innings, 3 earned. And then you're going to have the other 30% where they just get absolutely smoked. I mean, it happens. And, hopefully, like I said about the last game, hopefully Grant goes out there and learns a lesson, and he's like, okay, I really just need to lock in on what I'm going to do, because if you want to lock down the rotation spot, show that you can pitch a full 6 innings without letting something stupid get to you to where it affects you out there on the mound. Because I promise you, if something like that is going to get to you now, what are we going to do in October when you're out there trying to start a game for us and it's the second inning and that thought creeps into your head? Like, it's we've said it a lot, Ken. I really wish they would just move him to the bullpen. I really would. I think that would settle his mind down. Okay, I'm in the bullpen. I'm not going to start. I don't need to worry about going out there and starting. I just need to go worry about going out there and throwing an inning to 3 and shutting that lineup down. I just wish they would go ahead and make that move.
I mean, you may not see it, but I'm telling you, I've seen it in a lot of pitchers' eyes. I mean, over the years, and I'm not going to get on here and read a bunch of major league pitchers who their career cannot recover from them worried about whether they're going to be on the team, rotation. I thought you saw it later on in the game with Danny Young. I think Danny Young knew it later in the game that he needed to pitch well, and as soon as they hit a couple of balls, he couldn't recover from it. It's in your mind. You want to be on the team, so in Grant Holmes' case, he wants to be a starting pitcher. So as soon as things go squirrely, he can't recover. And I can tell you right now, I can 100% guarantee he won't say it. I understand why he can't say it. I'll say it for Walt Weiss. He sees the same thing. And that's the reason why he goes and yanks his ass out of the game, because he can see. While Chris Sale, Bryce Elder, they're very confident in where they're at in the team, and they get through situations. Martin Perez might be the number one person who gets through situations. We'll move on from Grant. Danny Young, we hate it for Danny. Good guy. He has a bad outing. He gets DFA for Ray Kerr. What are your thoughts on Danny Young situation and Ray Kerr coming in?
Hate it for Danny, but just based off of what he was doing the last few times out, it's not like this was a one-time thing. He's been kind of getting lit up for the last anywhere 3, 4, 5 outings now. It's not been really great for Danny, so the writing was on the wall, and this was a situation where if he went out there and he pitched well, he'd still be on the team more than likely. But he didn't pitch well. The Braves had another lefty that was on rehab assignment that looked really good. All the reports from the minor league guys was that he was ready to come back, so they pulled the plug and they brought him up. So Danny will probably find another job out there somewhere, but I wish him well. But you know, as far as having anything that he can do for this team right now, it didn't work out very well. So hopefully he goes out there and gets another shot and pitches well, but it just won't be this year for the Atlanta Braves, unfortunately for him.
No, on the offensive side, the good thing was Ronnie was 2 for 4. Matt was 2 for 4. Matt crushed the dough. No, it should have been a home run. I thought it was going to be another home run in the ninth. We showed a little fight, got a little run. We don't. You could just go up there. I like that because remember how mad we are in the game previously where they're going up hitting first pitches. They had deep counts in the night, so maybe they learned from the night before. Hey, look, we can't take these nights off. We got to battle all the way to the end. So I was proud of that. Lane Thomas, we told you he was going to hit Rodriguez's curveball. He crushed it for a double. What do you think offensively? You're the hitting guy. I thought seemed like the bats were a little bit better on Saturday night.
I mean, they were better, but it still wasn't. Yeah, Erod's good, so I mean, I can't really complain too much. At least they work the pitch counts on the guys, and they try to work deep counts. But I think there's too much chase. And I'm not saying Ronald. I'm not picking on Ronald. It's just when I noticed it, Ronald chased a lot of fastballs up and out of the zone. I know he's a fastball hitter, but you got to keep him in the zone. I don't think we did that enough. Was keeping him in the zone where we could hit him. I still think there was a little bit too much chase. Whether that was expanding out of our hitting window and trying to hit something in the strike zone that we shouldn't have been going after, or chasing stuff out of the zone. They did work better counts, but it's just what I mean. Two runs that you score back to back nights, or no, you didn't even score a run the previous night. So 2 runs or 3 runs, whatever it was in game two, it's not going to cut it. And I'm not trying to say Erod's not a great pitcher or anything, but he's not elite. He's not like the guys that you guys saw in Yankee Stadium or against the Mets or. He's just not. I mean, he's a crafty lefty. You got to get him in the zone, and you got to make sure you get a hittable pitch, and you just can't chase his pitches. And I just don't think. And I think Ken, that's the one common thing that we've seen this year out of these guys. They really struggle against guys that can locate their pitches and they can sequence really well. I just think we have a really hard time with that.
Especially against lefties. Parker Messick, Foster Griffin, and now Eduardo Rodriguez, and even still drives us crazy. Libertor from St. Louis. But I will say this on the hip coil. I brought it up on the hip coil, and Ryan agreed with me. Rodriguez, the bigger the game it is, the better he pitches. And I told y'all he was going to think this was a huge game, nationally televised game, Diamondbacks in the playoff, and he pitched with a lot of motion. He's pumping his fist. So good for Edwater, good for that. Arenado hits 2 home runs, and we already talked about him. Anything else from the game? It's just a disappointing game. You lose another series, and we'll get into this, the Sunday game, very important. But anything else from Saturday night? The one thing of Saturday is after the game, Bo did ask about Holmes going to the pen. Walt Weiss said, basically gibberish because he can't really say one way or the other. He did mention about AJ Smith-Shawver. We'll get to that. Ryan had a good point. We'll talk before he come on the air what might happen with that. I do not want AJ Smith-Shawver to go to the pen. I want AJ Smith-Shawver in the rotation if he comes back up here. I'm like Ryan. I'm okay with him pitching in Gwinnett, but if he needs to pitch, he needs to be pitching in our rotation. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, there. Do you want us to go in the report on the other pitcher right
Yeah,
now, or
we
you want
can.
to you go
Yeah.
ahead? Okay, so my point was, they said Bryce is dealing with some knee inflammation or some knee problems right now, so you could see him going to the disabled list or IL, whatever you want to call it, and they could bring AJ Smith-Shawver up. I think that's the route they're probably going to go, just because Bryce has been carrying us for a while now. Not carrying, but he's been eating up a ton of innings for us. But at the same point in time, if he wants to continue to pitch and he's going to continue to pitch effectively, like to Ken's point, me and him talked earlier, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to send Grant to the bullpen and our struggling closer going to the IL, so Grant can slide into more of that long, like that setup guy slash closer guy to lock games down until we get Robert Suarez back, or Iggy gets a little rest and he can come off the 10 or 15-day IL. So there's some situations that they're probably brainstorming up there in the good old Alex Anthopoulos' dome up there, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so we're going to work backwards to the game three. So we're going to start with Raciel Iglesias. I think he's got basically old man pitching problems. I think he's tired, and I think that if anybody, it's always vague when they say forearm fatigue, arm fatigue. That's something that's kind of like a phantom IL. I think in most cases, they all are tired right now. Will Smith brought it up on the broadcast Friday night about he went through that in the dog days of summer. It's a warm days. I think, so you ask your question without Suarez being back, and the reports are good. Me and Ryan both agree he should be back. I talked to Gavin from Up West Sports. He thinks around the Rays series, that's a pretty good timeline, 3 weeks. We'll see. But you can just do it by closure by committee. There are many teams who do closure by committee. We just played one. Arizona just is like, okay, whoever the matchups are. So, for instance, Dylan can close it out. Didier could close it out. I mean, we could find a way to get through it. And I'm with him. I mean, I don't have no problem with Grant giving us a good inning. So, whatever it's going to be. Rossio just can't get a clean inning right now, can he, Ryan?
His stuff's flat, man. It's just as fat. Like he's pitching in the wrong spot with his fastball. His changeup is starting too low because he doesn't have the fade on it anymore. So he's got to start at the bottom of the zone so it at least falls out of the zone. He's got nothing right now. Like he's got nothing, and I'm not trying. I love Iggy, and I'm not thinking that we need to DFA him or get rid of him or anything. But right now, he's just got nothing for these guys. Like I I don't know. Look, I'm not in their training staff. I don't have any idea what's going on with Iglesias. He looks tired. Like Ken said, it looks like he's got some old man stuff going on. But I don't know if it's that, if it's mechanical. Not a pitching coach. Ken would know more about that. But and it could be if he does have mechanical stuff, it might be because he's so tired that he just can't repeat his mechanics consistently until he gets a little bump in his energy. So I, it's hard to put him on the IL because Suarez isn't here. But at the same point in time, it's not like it's locked down anymore in the ninth inning. Ken, if we got a 1-run lead, I'm not very comfortable with Iglesias coming in right now. So I would I wouldn't mind necessarily him seeing the IL and Grant heading to the bullpen to at least give us another option down there to have a closer by committee until Suarez comes back. And the reports are Suarez is throwing 60 feet right now. For you people that don't know how the rehab works for pitchers with a throwing program, the throwing program starts at 15 feet. You have to throw 2 or 3 times there, no pain, then you get bumped up 15 feet. You do that until you get to 90. Once you get to 90 feet on flat ground and you throw 3 times without pain, then they move you to the bullpen on the mound. Then Suarez, he doesn't have to get built up like a starter. He's going to throw 2, maybe 3 pins, which he'll do that in 1 week. And if he clears that, he's going to go to Gwinnett on a rehab assignment. And he only needs about a week and a half to get ready, or 2 weeks to get ready in Gwinnett, if that. And that's if they're being, that's being cautious like the Braves like to do. So time frame around first week of September, second week of September, I could definitely see that being him coming back. So it's good reports. 60 feet pain free is exactly what you want to hear. He's progressing well. It's not the end of the world. It's not like he's not going to be back. As long as everything continues, he's going to be back.
Yeah, I agree. So, and here's what we said in 2021 around the ballpark. I agree. It's 2026. They really need definitely one of the two to come back healthy, Suarez or Iglesias, and it would really help if both of them do if they want to win the World Series. We said the same thing about Smith and Mentor. If everybody remembers, Mentor was suffering from the little problems going down, and then Luke Jackson's like Kenley. It really looks like the 2021 bullpen, and if Braves get what they want, all of them will come back to form in beginning of October. And that's when we really want them to pitch well anyhow. They still have a huge lead in the division. They're 8 games up in the loss column. And matter of fact, it was funny tonight on MLB, on MLB Tonight, their little show, um, Brian Kenny brought it up. The Phillies are bad boys. They're a really good baseball team, and they're here, and the Braves are still here. That's how good the Braves really are, but they're just not functioning. So they get ready for October. Let's get offensively. They finally had a good game. Soroka, really good pitcher. And it was Acuna 1 for 4. Baldwin gets a 1 for 3. Riley was 2 for 4. When you start hearing these numbers, that's when the Braves are going to be good offensively. Those three, when you start hearing these names, Acuna 1 for 4, Baldwin 1 for 3, Riley 2 for 4, Matt Olson hit a humongous 3-run homer. Can't say it enough. There are 3 MVP candidates out there, and they'll give them their due. Otani, PCA, but nobody else deserves it more. You can vote who you want to than Matt Olson. Huge home run. You could see the whole team just exhale like, okay, good. We're not going to get swept here. We're going to get a big win before we get on the plane to go to Minnesota, Ryan.
Yeah, it was it was a really good offensively, man. I wasn't even happy with the game today's game if I'm being 100% honest with you, Ken. We only had a few guys having really good approaches. One of them being Baldwin. Ronald was meh. He had the big RBI double that he had, so he gets a pass there. But there's also a couple times where he came up with runners scoring position that he shit the bed. So there's that. Riley actually was probably one of our better hitters today. He had a solid game plan. He hit a line drive to right field, made the adjustment to stay on that. Then he comes back and hits a slur for a double that led to 2 runs. I think he scored 2 runs today. It might have been one, but I think it was two. And then Olson had the big 3-run bomb. I mean, he worked a really good count, got a pitch up in his zone, just like I said, you're going to have to off that lefty. If you get it up, it kind of flattens out. And he got I think it might have been I can't remember if it was a slider or a sinker, but he got one of those pitches up in the zone. He crushed it to dead center field. MVP. I mean, he's definitely a top 3 MVP candidate in the National League, and I don't know where the Braves are at right now because he's had so many moments like this, especially recently. Like if you can just go back to Baltimore, he had that big 3-run home run against the Orioles late in the game that really gave us a gave us an opportunity to win. So it wasn't a great approach up there today. They didn't do a perfect job, but they did a good enough job, and they got the big hit when they needed it. So it was definitely a lot better hitting game today, but it's still not as good as they can be.
I don't think as good as it can be, but I think Soroka's a very good pitcher, and they battled, and the good thing is if Bryce was hurt, he sure pitched a hell of a game today. I don't know how Moreno hit the home run on the sinker up on his hands. That was beautiful. Look, Moreno's a great hitter. He might arguably be their best hitter, to be honest with him and Carroll. He got his hands inside, hit the ball out of the ballpark. It did barely just get out, so it was a good pitch by Bryce. But Bryce threw an outstanding game today. And if that's the game he throws before he goes on the IL, Braves fans should be excited about him getting back. He threw the ball very well today.
Yeah, I mean, he bounced back really nicely. Like I said, in the against the Mets, it was just kind of that weird crap that happened to him, unfortunately. So I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't too worried about it. He came out and he bounced back really nicely today. 6 innings, 1 run, some strikeouts. He looked good. I mean, I know he's hurt. That's why his velo's down a little bit right now, is because he's dealing with some knee stuff. And when his knee's feeling good, velo's up. When his knee's not feeling so good, it's a little bit down. So I, if he goes on the IL with this start, I would be very happy and encouraged that he's going to come back and do some good stuff for us. But hopefully, he's able to keep battling through it and it doesn't affect him too much. Because I I'm more confident in Bryce Elder than I am Grant Holmes.
100%. And whatever it takes to get Bryce healthy for the postseason, because right now, I would say him and Molly are the lead to pitch game two right now. So let's keep Bryce healthy. So we'll see what they decide on that. So let's get to the breakdown of it. This is going to be kind of hard. It's a kind of a weird blah series for the Braves. So I'm curious to see where Ryan goes with this. What was the play of the series?
I think from the Braves' perspective, the play of the series was Matt Olson hitting the 3-run bomb. Right? I think that was definitely the play of the series, but I will also go back to game one. I think offensive performance in game one kind of set the tone for the whole series, unfortunately, Ken. It was a very series. It was just not very good, not very well played. We have some bats that really need to get going. Ozzy Albies, I'm looking at you. You have like a 500 OPS in the last 2 months. You really need to get your head out of your rear end and start hitting the baseball better because it's time. It's been far too long. Um, that's just the first one that came to my head. Riley's been doing fine. Left field platoon's been fine. Ronald still not being Ronald. We need to get him going. Michael Harris is struggling a little bit right now. Got to get him going. Beside and Baldwin hadn't hit a home run in like 20 games now. Ken, we got to get Baldy back going. So we're going through an offensive lull a little bit right now. So I would say the game one offensive performance would be the overall play of the series.
Yeah, I'm glad you finally mentioned. I know you're hard on Ronald this series, but I mean this preview recap so far. But I just was about puke over Michael's series. He's horrible to the series, and I love Money. He's my guy. I got his shirt jersey on right now. He's if he's a big Austin Riley fan, I'm the Michael Harris guy on here, and I know how he felt when Austin was doing his shit because I was. It was just I whatever, Mike. Let's go. Get better in Minnesota. He should be fired up against Byron. He'll want to prove he's what. I'm going to say the same thing. I think the play of the series was the lethargic effort at the plate Friday night. Letting Brandon Fall get through 6 innings with 60 something 9 pitches is ridiculous, guys. I mean, I know he's a good pitcher. I mean, basically a postseason pitcher. We've already seen him in the postseason. And we told you on the hip call, these three guys are good big game pitchers. They were going to bring their best stuff. And they're not even close to Fried, Cole, and Schlittler. They're not those guys. They pitch like Fried, Cole, and Schlittler because we let them do that. So, yes, lethargic effort to me. You want to look at a good thing? I think Ryan hit on it. Matt Olson's home run saved our series. We could have got swept. So I think it's a good idea. So MVP of the series for you, Ryan.
Ooh, well, Arizona Diamondbacks pitching staff, right? My God, they absolutely shoved it up our rear ends. Every one of their pitchers went at least 6 innings and gave up 2 earned runs or less. Every one of them. If that's not, that's the MVP. If you wanted to go offensively, you could probably look at Corbin Carroll. My God, he was all over the base paths. You could look at Nolan Arenado, but for me, there's no bigger impact for the Diamondbacks other than their starting pitching this series, Ken.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're phenomenal, and they're going to give them a chance to be tough out in the playoffs if they can get there. And I fully expect. And I talked to a friend of mine, huge baseball that we worked together. This race in the National League will be fun between the Padres, Phillies, and Diamondbacks. Any of those three are going to be better than most of the teams that's going to get in the AL playoffs. Okay, so be interesting. I'm going to go Nolan Arenado. As I told Ryan, I think he's the difference maker. If he can somehow be what we saw this series, I believe the Diamondbacks will get in the playoffs. If he reverts back to the old man Arenado, I don't think the Diamondbacks make it. So I'll just give Nolan the MVP because he had a good series against us. And for some reason, he always does. I don't know what he likes about a Braves, but he loves hitting against us. All right, so here we go. We're going to go on a very strange road trip. We got to go to Minnesota for three. Twins are a funky team. They're scary. The pitching matchups are Martin Perez against Bailey Ober. We got Tyler Molly against Zebby Matthews. Yes, that's his name, Zebby. And Chris Sale against Todd Bradley. 100% the pitching matchups favor us, Ryan, but Minnesota is a funky team. Byron Buxton is a MVP type candidate when he's healthy. And the guy who may be comeback player of the year or should be getting votes is Cody Clemens. Cody Clemens has become a pure player. They also have some other good hitters. What do you think about the Braves Twins series?
I would like to thank the Philadelphia Phillies for cutting Cody Clemens completely off their roster, so we don't have to face that. Because my God, um, is Byron Buxton healthy again? Is he back from the IL? He is back. Okay, so
Okay.
of course, of course. All right, I will definitely 100% that the pitching matchups favor us. I don't think there's a question about it. Their pitching staff is not very good outside of Joe Ryan and Taj Bradley. I think those are their two best bullets that they have. Um, their bullpen, I've looked at it, Ken. Their bullpen is not very good. They're, they got Minter as their best lefty. Taylor Rogers has been horrible for them this year. They have the right hander that is their closer. I can't remember what his name is. It'll be on the hip coal,
Gomez or something.
something like that. And then they have one more guy in there that's been pretty decent. The kid they got from Toronto, he came in there. So they really only have a few good bullpen arms. So I like that part. If we get past their starting pitching, it's already not good. You get into a worse part of their team, which is also, again, not very good. Their lineup, I think, is kind of mediocre, right? Jeffers has been good. Byron Buxton's been good. Cody Clemens has been good. I don't know a whole lot of anything else about their offense other than those few guys. I don't know how Royce Lewis has been. Has he been the old Royce Lewis? I don't. So Brooks Lee, I don't know. Has he been great? Probably not. It's just I don't know. They got a few big bats that you got to watch out for. They got a few good relievers. They got a few good starting pitchers. They got a few of everything, but doesn't make up a whole sum for a playoff team, in my opinion. They're not there. So we should go win with the attitude. We got to win 2 out of 3 at the very minimum, if not sweep. Not saying that we're gonna sweep, but I think we got to have the attitude. We got to go in there and win 2 out of 3 easily.
Yeah, they are. We said we didn't understand why they went for the playoffs. They were just not a good enough team to go do that. And luckily, the American League is horrible. They're 60 and 65. But they're only a game and a half out of the wild card. That's how bad the American
That's
League is
so
run.
bad, Ken. That's so horrible.
It's really bad. I tell you, the two of the guys I worry about in their offense that kind of worried me, not because they're having great years. I want to look them up for their OPS. Larnack has a 788 OPS, which is actually pretty good. Trevor Larnack's having a pretty good year. He hits well normally against us. And Bell. Bale, for some reason, loves to see the Atlanta Braves, whether he was a National, whether he was a Padre. He was in a bad slump, but now he's at his OPS up to 735. So that's kind of scary that he may be kind of a little bit hot right now. So we'll see how it goes. But I think the series favors us. Here's a little something about Target Field. The ball carries in Target Field. It's a funny ballpark. They have high walls and everything. It looks like it may be a pitcher's park. It's not a pitcher's park. It's kind of middle of the pack. The ball does carry there. If the Braves can swing the bats well, we can hit a few home runs. I'm looking at you, Matt Olson. We think you can get to 45. If you have a series like I think you're capable of this series, we've got to start thinking about 50. With that said, how do you see the series going in Minnesota?
Like I said, I'm very comfortable with 2 out of 3. I like the pitching matchups. I like the fact that our bullpen's a whole lot stronger than theirs. I think 2 out of 3, but at the very minimum, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I think 2 out of 3. The best matchup of the series will be Wednesday afternoon. I know most of y'all are going to be working, but try to cheat and try to see if you can get it and watch it or at least listen to it. Sale Bradley matchup will be beautiful. That'll be the best matchup of the series, and it could be a pivotal game. So let's win the first two. That'll give us a chance to go for a sweep, and that would be really nice. Let's go ahead and touch base real quick before we kind of get in here. It's a weird trip. We got to fly from Minnesota and go past Milwaukee, where we're supposed to go next. We've got to go down to the White Sox for Thursday. We won't do a preview or a recap on the White Sox. We'll just kind of group it all together. We'll group the preview here with the White Sox, and we'll recap it when we do the Brewers recap. It's kind of funky. And last time we had to do this, where we flew into Chicago White Sox, we got one hit. Remember, that's the Chris Sale game. We lose 1-0. I'm assuming, I'm assuming that's going to be the Grant Holmes start. I don't know how that lines up. The White Sox are currently the second best record in the American League, or third best record in the American League, tied with the Red Sox, who lost finally today. The White Sox are kind of hot too right now. What do you think about just the whole travel thing? How do you think how the team's going to react to that?
It sucks, but you got to do what you got to do. It's just like, you go into work one day and you're like, holy crap, my schedule is double because somebody took off or called in sick. It sucks, but you got to do it. You got to get through it. Um, I wouldn't, if I'm the Braves, I don't put too much into it other than we just got to go in there and do our job because we lost the first two games of that series, You don't want to go in there and get swept. You got to go in there and try to at least win one game out of Chicago and head on up to, because then you got to go up to Milwaukee, who's going to be a really good team there too. So I, I don't know who we're going to face. Hopefully it's not Davis Martin because he really shoved it up our rear ends the last time we saw him. That might be the start where AJ Smith-Shawver returns. I don't know. I don't know anything. Just seems like a nice time to bring somebody like that back into the fold. But yeah, it's weird. It sucks, but it is what it is, and we just got to get through it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's a definite spot they can bring AJ Smith-Shawver up, letting him pitch. You also get the extra day, so we'll see what the Braves do. I will say this here. I do like the fact that the Twins, it's an afternoon game, and they make it even earlier. They're going to play noon their time, so I think that helps us. I also think, though, that's why it's imperative we cannot lose that series in Minnesota. We lose that series in Minnesota, that's tough. Because let me tell you what's going to be waiting for us Friday night when we get to Milwaukee. Mr. Mizorowski. And we'll get into that later on. I think this is maybe the biggest series we've played, I would say, almost all season, to be honest with you. I think this is a pivotal series in Minnesota that if this goes wrong and the Phillies keep playing well, we're going to start talking about the division again, Ryan. I mean, I think this is a very pivotal series. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no doubt. Philly's playing a little bit better. Milwaukee is playing really good. I don't know if you guys kept up with it. They had a 4-game series against the Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers lost 3 of the 4, if not got swept. I know they at least lost 3 of those games to the Brewers. So, Brewers are playing really good baseball right now. They got good pitching. Mizorowski's there. I know Kyle Harrison's back. Um, they they have good arms up and down the rotation. They have good arms in the bullpen. Their offense, like I said, it's not great, but they scrap it across enough runs to win the game. So you got to take care of business against the Twins. Look, I know the Twins are in playoff contention, guys. They're an under 500 team, and we're, as of right now recording this podcast, Ken, it's August 16th. They're not a good team. They don't have great pitching. They don't have a great offense. They don't have a great bullpen. They don't have a great defense. They're a mediocre team. That's what they are. You got to go in there with the attitude. We got to win 2 out of 3 at the very minimum, if not sweep. Taj Bradley's nobody. He's good. He's got some good stuff. We're going to talk about it on the hip coil, but he's not somebody that you should be like, oh my God, we can't hit. So go in there and win 2 out of 3. Go win the first 2 games. Go for the sweep on the getaway day on Wednesday. That way you can roll into Chicago with your heads held high and don't have to worry about that game too much. But in my opinion, if you don't sweep, that game in Chicago becomes really pivotal. You got to win that game in Chicago if you don't win all 3 in Minnesota, because then you got to go rolling up into Milwaukee, and you got to try to win 2 out of 3 in that house with that group pitching. That's a really tall task, Ken.
I agree. So let's get out of here on our final thoughts, Ryan. Ryan is not going to we got something special on Hardcore Braves coming. He doesn't even know about it. I just got finalized with it. So I'll give you my final thought in a second. Ryan, what is your final thought tonight?
Offense, get your heads out of your ass and start playing better. I'm tired of watching shit approaches at the plate. Go up there and actually do your homework with hires and get in there and tear the shit out of the ball in Minnesota so we can roll into Milwaukee with our heads held high and have some confidence before we face 105 and Mr. Mizorowski, Ken.
No, it's his final thought. I may just let it be. No, I'll go with this. So we have a series preview that we do, and we're excited. And he's worked it out with his schedule, Ryan. So you're watching the Hip Call here Monday morning, Monday lunchtime. It's your lunchtime thing. If you get some time free in the afternoon, we're going to do series preview live. A series preview with the Twins live, me and Andrew. We thought it'd be kind of cool to do that. A lot has to do with our schedules. Andrew's also been working a lot. He's been traveling for work. Ryan's been working. We've all been working. Look, that's not an excuse. We're trying to still hammer everything. So what do you think about us doing a series preview live? That means we're going to take questions for y'all, so y'all can ask all the things you want to ask about Braves Twins.
Man, that sounds pretty fun. I mean, that'll be an interesting thing to see how it goes. I might hop in the chat and see what y'all are up to.
Ryan might give us the toughest question, so that'll be good. All right, we're going to get out of here. We love you, Braves Country. Remember, we're 7.5 up, 8 in the loss column. Things are looking good on that end, but it would be really nice if we can hold off the Dodgers. And maybe, I don't care if we catch the Brewers. If both us two can make the Dodgers play in that third seed game, I like the chances of them getting bounced first round by either the Phillies, Diamondbacks, and Padres. That's 3 teams they don't line up well against. So let's get the Dodgers to third place. We love you, Braves Country.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.